Dani Bubang, and welcome to yet another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. Now, today I will be talking about the fact that your journey may require you to start over. Now, for many of us, it's hard. Face the fact, it's hard. We don't like the word starting over. Like, I have to start all over again after having done XYZ, after I've gotten the degrees or started in a certain profession, that I have to start over new on a journey that God may be calling me on. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting over based on what your journey was previously. It also doesn't mean that it's going to cause any delays as such on your new journey, if in fact you are starting over. It means that God needs you to be prepared fully for your new journey, especially if you are actually in that rediscovery phase. That would mean that you may just have been started discovering your purpose with God and the purposes and plans that He may have for you. You're now going to start that again. And so look at starting over not as an interruption to your prior life or lifestyle or anything like that, but look at it as starting new, starting fresh in a journey that God is taking you on. So don't let that fear of starting over startle you at all. Rather, just embrace it. Embrace starting over with God. Embrace something new and exciting that you're getting to do with God on your journey. You will also need time to adjust to your new role or your new environment. That's another thing and adjusting will take time, of course. It's something that you're going to start learning to do again. And so give yourself time and a lot of grace, I would say, in the starting over process. So yes, it may be difficult at first for many of us. And sometimes a lot of us will shrink back actually because of those fears, doubts, and unbelief to what God may be calling you to. But be reminded, I'm no saint here either. I'll be honest with you, and I'm not saying this in any way, but I wasn't any different. I wasn't any different when God was calling me to even start over on my journey. This role that I am stepping into right now that you're seeing is actually new. It's new for me. This is not something that I've ever done before. And quite frankly, I had to learn as well and have to get over these hurdles that I had about doing anything like this. So for me, I have a medical background as a pharmacist. So I'm not here talking to you about anything pharmacy related at all. I mean, you can still ask me medication stuff and things like that, but I am here to help you to discover or rediscover your purpose and identity that God has planned for you here to live on earth. So I'm here to help you to evolve and just to take seriously, the mandate that God has on your life. Now remember, purpose is a choice. God is not forcing His will on you. It's totally up to you whether or not you want to walk with God on your purpose-driven journey. So God is not going to rush you into anything, that you're not comfortable with doing. For instance, if you're not comfortable in speaking in front of a crowd, He's not going to rush you into it. So this is the why starting over is okay, and that preparation is actually needed in your journey of starting over. God will require some time to just get you to be comfortable with who you are, your new identity for some of you who've been struggling previously, and to also now be able to step out into something new and exciting, and to also be comfortable with who you are and with who He's actually calling you to be. So that's why starting over is essential, and there's some purpose behind it. So just embrace the timing, embrace the season, and embrace that process of actually having to start over on your journey. So that's why a totally new perspective for you is needed, about your life. And the thought of having to start over is not anything frightening, but actually it's good. So think of it in a positive light that you're now going to start something new. You're going to start something fresh with God, and think outside the box, because you never know what your journey where your journey will take you actually, and what God will be requiring you to do in this season of your life. So yes, think of starting over with God as the ability to be on a totally new and exciting journey that is fresh, that's enlightening, and filled with twists and turns along the way. Nothing is going to be perfect like a perfect paved road. You're going to have some twists, some turns, some unexpected things happening, but just be ready, be prepared for the journey. You will never be bored either, I'll tell you that much, on a journey, on your purpose-driven journey, because you're inspired to get up each and every single day and to just do something new with God. For instance, in my life, like just getting up each day, I'm now doing podcasts, which is totally new. But I know that for me, it's exciting to actually get up and talk to you about purpose and how to fulfill your purpose and destiny and calling that God has planned for you. So once you're in your zone of purpose, nothing will ever be the same again. I'll be honest with you. Nothing will be the same again. Not for me in my life. And I can guarantee you that you won't feel the same way anymore once you decide finally and totally to surrender and step into your purpose-driven journey. Now, I'm going to go through a couple steps on what to expect when you're actually starting over. And I'll also give you some pointers, just to help you on your journey of fulfilling your purpose and destiny. So step number one, as I said earlier on, just be open to the idea of or possibility of starting over. That's the first step. That will also help you to not feel entitled either, for any advancement beyond what God is calling you to do. So many of us struggle in this area because of maybe titles such as, let's say you had a prior degree before, for example, a doctoral degree. You may feel like you've already arrived in your purpose and you don't need to start over or go in the direction God is calling you to do. For some of you, it may feel like I'm stepping back, I'm lowering myself, but in truth and in fact, it has nothing to do with that. Remember, God has to prepare you for the journey that you're going into. And it may take you having to start over, start a new course, go back to school for something that you may not have had prior. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay, even if you have a doctoral degree, to actually start over doing something again so that you can gain the knowledge that you need, which will be required for you to step out on your purpose-driven journey. So, yes, so step number two, there is no rushing to get anywhere on your journey. No rushing whatsoever. Not with God. You cannot rush ahead of him, and you cannot try to, step out of his way or behind him or anything. I can tell you that much. You will go at the pace God wants you to go, because he needs you to be ready in every season of your life, for whatever he is calling you to do. So he doesn't want us to fall in anything because, we're not prepared for it or anything like that. So hence your times and your seasons of waiting, seriously, you don't have to doubt it. It's actually a time that he requires for you to be prepared and be ready for your purpose-driven journey. And remember, purpose is not a rush either. Remember, it's a lifetime. You're going to be doing this for a lifetime. So there's no need to jump ahead of God, and there's no need to rush either the process. Take time to go through each stage of the process, because when you do, that will enable you to be fully and totally prepared for what God is calling you to be in. So yes, on the back burner, let's say for many years, you may be, yeah, you may be behind the scenes, for many years. For instance, for some, you may have been, um, like for me, for 6 years was just preparation. I wasn't really doing what I was doing now, but behind the scenes, God was preparing me for even this time that I had to step up further and talk in front of an audience. So yes, those times of and seasons of waiting and preparation, for me, it was to kind of get rid of the stage fright and to be more comfortable and confident in who I am and who He's calling me to be. So don't ever regret those waiting times, or times where for you it may be taking too long. Why is God taking too long? I've been doing this for X amount of time. Just know that He knows when you're ready, and that your timing and season is all in His hands. And be comfortable with that. Be okay with it. There's no rush with God, and there's no rush with you. So I'll go back a little bit about my life, because I'm not any different. Like I said earlier, I'm almost 6 years in, after, a bit of hiccups, a bit of kicks here and there. And but I don't look at those years that, I don't look at it as if I wasn't doing anything. I was actually learning and growing throughout those years. So those years for me in my life were actually needed, and just helped me, just to become more confident and just to step out, in what He was calling me to be. And just, not having anything that would hinder that process. For instance, fear hindering me actually wanting to do these videos. So yes, God does require some time to prepare us and to help us to get some of those things that may hinder us on our purpose-driven journey. Step number 3, trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the journey that God is taking you on, especially in those seasons and times of waiting. Waiting, I would say, for something to happen, for things to go the way you probably planned or thought that it should go. Remember, God knows us more than we know ourselves. He knows everything about us. And as such, He also knows when we are ready to take on more advanced roles in our purpose, and sometimes when we are not. And that is okay. What better way for you to be prepared on your journey than God knowing exactly when He needs you to step out more, and when He may require a season of just being still and being in a mode of preparation. So God knows us, and God knows everything about us. So the time and seasons of just undergoing whatever training He needs you to get, or whatever He's calling you to do, trust that time, trust that season, and just, be okay with anything that is required for you during that time as well. So another thing, which is an example that resonates well with me, is most of you have probably heard of Tabitha Brown. And now many of you, including myself, I was wondering, where did she come from all of a sudden? I've never really knew of her before until I saw her and her vegan journey and all of that. But God made me pick up a copy of her book and read it. And when I read her book, unbeknownst to me, he reminded me that for even her, it took actually 20 years for her to even get to where she was. Now, that's why I'm saying, for us, we thought she was an overnight success, but in her story and her journey, it actually took her 20 years to get to where God was calling her to. So that's why I said your journey is a lifetime. There is no rush in the process. In every season, phase, or stage that God is calling you to, He's requiring something for you to do, to learn, to grow, to overcome, and to be prepared for greater things. So that's why I'm saying, don't rush ahead of God, and don't even some of us like to complain or kind of get frustrated in those seasons. But just understand that God has all intentions to help you along your purpose driven journey, and you just have to trust Him in that time and season and trust the process. So, step number 4, I probably said it before, but I'm going to say it again. Don't try to get ahead of God. Be warned. This will catapult you right back into position. Don't try to force your way either in anything if you're not ready for that journey. Remember, God knows you more than you know yourself, and He'll know if you're also ready for any journey that He's taking you on. So take each step. Take each step. For me, God gives me breadcrumbs, and He will do the same for you. It's just saying He'll give you a little bit at a time to do until He knows that you're ready and you're confident to step out into bigger and better things as you go on your purpose-driven journey. So don't force anything, and just take it one step at a time, like little trails of breadcrumbs, and just follow that and just stick to your path as God shows more things that you need to do and need to get done on your journey. So here's the thing: when you grab a chunk of bread, this is an example, that when for instance you grab a chunk of bread that God is calling you into this season, let's say, and then that's when a lot of disappointments and failures tend to pop up or happen because things didn't happen the way you planned it. It's not that it didn't happen the way that you planned it. It's just that you may not have been ready, for that door or that role that you thought God was calling you into. So that's why I said stick with the process that God has you on. Stick with the little breadcrumbs that you will get periodically as you step out in faith and follow Him. And don't try to take big chunks of bread because you think you may have been more prepared for something. Just understand that you need time, and give Him that time, and give Him just give Him that time to actually prepare you and get you ready for your purpose-driven journey. So keep abreast with God, and He will let you know what you can do next. Trust me on this one. I've been through this enough times to know. So go in His alignment, go in His timing, and everything will go according to His plan. And you also will be more successful in your journey and your endeavors as you go along with God. So it's baby steps and not any giant leaps, especially when you're not ready yet for what He's calling you into. So step number 5, please be thankful. Be thankful for your own journey of starting over. Yes, it's tempting to see the many lives out there, especially on social media, with people like living their best life, right? But you can't compare your journey with their journey because you don't know what they've been through. And they, vice versa, can't compare their journey with yours because they don't know what you've been through either. You may see pictures, but you never really know their story. And that's the part that many of us get caught up into, not knowing that person's story, their journey, what they are going through, what they have had to overcome that you may not have had to. So always, don't ever compare your story, your journey with anybody else. You don't see the sacrifices being made with them, and they don't know what's going on with your life. You don't see the pain or the failures or the disappointments that they may have been going through. And that's why I said, once you don't know the behind the scenes of anybody's life, just always focus on yours and be thankful for what God is calling you into and the season that you are in on your own journey. If you have to, like I do, I put blinders on. I call them the horse blinders that horses carry just to keep them on the racetrack. That's the same for me. I put my horse blinders on and I keep focused on my journey and what God is calling me to. whenever I get distracted and I start looking at other people's journey, then that's when confusion comes forth in my journey. And then I have to refocus and say, well, I don't know what they've been on their journey. So I have to just focus on mine and know that God has every good intentions for my life, and he will work all things out together for my good, according to his word. Step number 6, be grateful. Gratitude goes a long way. Be grateful for the opportunity to start over. Be grateful for the open doors or even the doors that slam shut. Trust me, the doors that slam shut. Be grateful. Sometimes you never know what's behind that door. And yes, we may be disappointed that we lost a job or opportunity or anything like that. But remember, God already knows what's behind that door. So just trust that he knows as well what is good for you. So be grateful for the season of also slowing down and just learning or building. Those seasons may be long, and to you it may be, oh, I'm sitting on the back burner. But no. Those seasons of building is actually important because you're building strength and stamina for your entire purpose journey. And remember, again, it's a lifetime for you going through that process. So God has to also prepare you, and he uses those seasons of nothing happening, or to you, it could be a dry season where he's just preparing you so that you are better equipped to be able to walk on your purpose-driven journey. So just be grateful for every time, every moment, and every phase of your journey. A grateful heart helps you to move more easily on your journey. I'm sure most of you don't even realize that. Gratitude brings you along the path more easier. It's like a catapult for you, even seeing more things happen in your life and seeing more of God's best for you. So try to remember that. Be at peace with your journey. Listen carefully. I repeat it again. Be at peace with your journey. Your journey is your own. Nobody can stop it, and nobody can take it away from you, and nobody can come alongside you, with you if they're not supposed to be there. So you're going to have to be at peace, and you're going to have to go on your journey sometimes without others when you start. Some may leave, some may fall off while you're going through with your journey, but that's okay. That's okay if you starting over meant others have left and they don't want to no longer go with you. So if you haven't listened to my video on that, then I would love for you to backtrack and go to that video and watch my video on sometimes your purpose-driven journey can be lonely. And you know what? It's absolutely okay. Sometimes the lonely path is good because you can actually get more done without the opinions of everybody. And we know that well. When we suggest a dream or something to maybe family members, they may not get it as much as we do. And we may hear the opinions, the negative opinions that may affect some of us into even knowing and trusting that God told me that this was the path he's bringing me on. And that can get you distracted or even deter you totally off the purpose journey that God is taking you on. So sometimes, yes, it may be a season of being by yourself doing it, and that's okay. It will allow you to keep yourself focused on your path, your journey, and the vision that God has planned over your life. So sometimes too, which is my next step number 8, finances when starting over. This is a big topic for most of us, including myself, about our finances. What will happen to our finances if we have to sort of start over on our purpose-driven journey? So this is a big topic. So maybe I will probably do a video about finances later on, just to help you to get some clarity on that. But yes, sometimes the journey of purpose will take some huge financial decisions, In other words, you may have a financial, some huge financial cuts. It can be from anywhere, like, for instance, in my life, moving from a six-figure background, six figures salary, um, right down to pennies, if you think about it, without notice. It can be anywhere from you having to cut back maybe to half your salary, or stepping into something else that God is calling you to, or even starting over and going to school that may require you to have some other financial obligations as well. So there's plenty of things that can happen depending on your life, your situation, and your financial obligations. But for me, don't panic. This is the thing: don't panic, don't argue, and don't get frustrated about it, especially if you're starting over, because it means that you may be building something from new, and it could take years before you even see much of an income. For instance, for example, for me, I'm also a blogger. I blog. That's another outlet that I do on my purpose driven journey. So I do have a motherhood blogging website that I built to kind of encourage mothers on their motherhood journey. Now, the high-end bloggers you see out there, they don't tell you the truth. Let me tell you, the high-end bloggers who are making seven figures or incomes from bloggings, they don't tell you the truth. They didn't get to where they were overnight. It takes time. It doesn't happen like that. And I can tell you it does not. Don't let anybody tell you about any get rich quick blogging scheme, because it doesn't happen. It takes time, and plenty of time depending on where you're starting from. But when you do, and when you have put that work in and you did not quit and you kept going, even though the time seemed long, you'll see the fruit of your labor. The only thing for you is to not give up on any journey, not give up on any opportunity that you know for sure God is calling you on. Just stick it through. Even when you're getting pennies behind your name, just stick it through and just keep going with God on your purpose driven journey. So that goes for anything you're doing, whether you're starting over and as an actor, maybe a doctor, or anything that God is calling you to. Just be ready and prepared and open to whatever your journey may be, especially with your finances. And remember, God is our provider. Man is not your provider. Nobody else can do it. God knows what you need, and He'll always provide what you need for your life, for your purpose, and your destiny. So step number 9, starting over is actually exciting. I'll tell you that much. It's exciting. When you think of your journey as being exciting and filled with many twists and turns and unexpected adventures with God, it will push back that mundane feeling of life and the thoughts about the process that you have to go through. That's what it did for me. Starting over actually helped me to overcome my past career choices I struggled with for years, because I didn't feel, connected to that my life as a pharmacist. And I was so disconnected. And now I don't have to associate it with anymore. And I just have so much more peace about where God is taking me to. And I just love getting up each day and doing exactly what I love to do. So that's another thing too. It gave me more of a new purpose and new hope for my future that I didn't see before, even in my career as a pharmacist. So starting over is therefore, it's a great thing happening in your life, and you want to embrace that wholeheartedly. Don't complain about it, but just actually be excited, because you never know what God has around the corner for you. And step number 10, you're going to be okay starting over. You're going to be okay. Chill, relax. You're going to be just fine. So I end with this to encourage you that starting over does not ever mean anything bad or negative, but actually see it as a stepping stone to greater things that God is calling you on. When you look at it that way, there's absolutely nothing that you can do when you get to see God's unending glory on your journey. There's more to come on your journey of purpose and destiny. So you know what? Just enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride of a lifetime. Thank you all once again for tuning in to another episode of Life Lived in Purpose. Now, if you haven't already grabbed a copy of my book, A Balanced Life, Moving from a Dysfunctional Life to a More Purposeful One, please do get a copy, because this book was written to help anyone who's ever struggled with dysfunction in your life. And you probably thought that it was normal, but you know that dysfunction is not the normal, and that's not the life God is calling you to. So a dysfunctional life also rather signifies that you're on the wrong path that God wants you to be on. So do get a copy of that for any, if you yourself feel that you're not where you're supposed to be with God. Also, be sure to get another copy of my book, my memoir, that speaks a lot about my life, my journey, my struggles that I had to go through and that I overcame to get to where I am today. It's called I Am Who God Says I Am. Always be inspired to live the life God has planned for you. The link for both books is in the description box below. So until next time, I do thank you once again for watching. Bye.